Warning. Before disappointing anyone with the following tutorial, I have to clarify that this is a tutorial to mod Skullgirls Second Encore, the PC version. If you came here expecting tips to mod Skullgirls Mobile or a console version of Second Encore, I must encourage you to leave, since the video's information won't do you any good. I also have to clarify that this tutorial will only cover the modifications for the game's music and stages. Tutorials I'll talk about later, character skins/palettes cannot be modified. So if you came here only for that, I'll also have to encourage you to leave, unless you think you'll find something useful in this video. For the rest of the viewers, either someone decided to make their own stages, music parks, or simply someone curious, it's showtime! What's up, my FGC buddies? This is Morganimations with a tutorial on how to make your own mods for Skullgirls Second Encore. I've decided to make this video as a way of thanking every one of you, not only for subscribing, but also for receiving Project SCP in such a warm way. It's because of you that I know that all of those hours I dedicated to such a tedious task, followed by a lot of trial and error, were completely worth it. And as a thank you, I'll give you not only the necessary tools for it, but all my modding knowledge that I've acquired since I was a teen. Having said that, you must be warned that once you start, there is no turning back. If you really want to make your own mods, not only for Skullgirls, but any other game, you need time, dedication, and determination to rectify and polish even the smallest of details. If you're already in the scene, or if you consider that you have the time and patience for this, then you're more than welcome into this journey that will test your knowledge and perseverance. Having said that, and with nothing else to say, let's get into the first step. You'll find a link in the description where you can download the SKULLMOD folder, the program that you'll need to unzip the game files located in the Data01 folder. I'll explain later how to get there. Aside of SKULLMOD, you'll find a folder named Music Converter, which is already configured to be used immediately. I'll get into more details about it later. Aside of the folder you just downloaded, you'll also need free programs for the music and the stages. I recommend Audacity, VLC Media Player, and GIMP. Audacity is the most used audio editing program in the world, which also makes it the easiest to use. And since you'll only need it to cut and paste fragments of the music that you'll use, then you won't need anything fancy. VLC Media Player will allow you to open media files that are in MP3s or MP4s, which you'll need to open the music files. And GIMP is a digital drawing program which can import the game's textures files and export them in any other format. This is important because if you're already a digital illustrator, you'll need to export the files in PNGs to work more comfortably in the program you usually use. Alright, now that we have all the necessary programs installed and ready to be used, let's get to step 2. Before trying to open anything in the SKULLMOD folder, you will make a folder for your mods. Eventually you'll have to make more folders, but right now it's important that you have a specific folder with a specific name in an easy to access place, otherwise you will suffer for the next steps. Now, open Steam and right click Skullgirls, manage local files, and open the Data01 folder. Now, make 2 copies of the files Music Win GFS, Stages GFS, and Stages Textures GFS in the folder you made. It's more of a precaution, but it'll save you a migraine to have a backup of the unaltered files just in case of emergency. With your 3 files at the ready, open the SKULLMOD folder and don't open the SKULLMOD program. Instead, you'll drag the 3 files into GFS Unpack, which will open the SKULLMOD tab. After that, you'll end up with 3 folders with their files at the ready to be checked and modified, which leads us to the kind of file that's the easiest to mod universally. The first thing you're gonna do is download an MP3 file of whatever song you want to get into the game. If you're one of those that only uses Spotify or YouTube Music and don't know how to download songs, search for any online converter and paste the YouTube link in it. Now that you have your song downloaded and know in what stage it will play, you're gonna open Audacity, import the song, and cut the intro and the part that will loop. It's important to export both the intro and the loop as separate MP3 files because now we'll finally enter the Music Converter and Music Win folders. In here, you'll copy and paste the files one by one and rename them as input. After that, open convert.bat, that'll make a file named output, which can be opened with VLC. Now, check the files in Music Win to locate the song you'll be replacing. You'll maybe have to open a bunch of files because some of them don't have very straightforward names, like these guys down here. With your song located, you'll rename the output file exactly as the file you're replacing. It's important to check if you're renaming the intro or the loop. It's easy to tell since the loops are always named as the number 2s, but it's always a good thing to be aware of what you're doing. If the song you chose can be perfectly looped from start to end and you don't need an intro, you still need an intro file. In those cases, simply copy this blank file, paste it and rename it as the intro file. And with that, your music is modded. Now all you have to do is drag the folder into the file named GFSPack in the SKULLMOD folder, which will make a copy. We're good, we're motivated, we're hydrated. Nice, because this is where the fun begins. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. This is gonna get messy. Don't even think you'll be able to completely redesign a stage unless it's a training zone. Because if you try to fly too close to the sun, tragedies like this can happen. My recommendation is to simply focus on recolors or edits of buildings and NPCs and not much else. Now, before doing anything to the textures, the first thing you'll need to do is get screenshots from the stage you're modding. You can use the Xbox game bar for this by inputting the Windows key and G. This will serve as a good reference for the stage's proportions and perspectives. Personally, I use Paint Toolside, but you can do this on Photoshop, Krita, Clip Studio, or whatever obscure Russian program you use. It would be great if you already use GIMP, but it will always be better to work with the stuff you already domain. If you're not a digital illustrator and you're too lazy to learn this, then commission an artist fee and send them this video. If you're that fee, hi! Sorry you were dragged into this mess. You better ask for a good cash because this is gonna be a shit show. Okay, now go to the Stages Textures folder and copy all the textures of the stage you're modding. Import those files on GIMP and export them as PNGs only if you're gonna work on another program. Now, with the textures at the ready, change the color to fit the theme you want or were asked to do. It'll always be necessary to do some corrections, so make sure you've checked every little detail, no matter how small. After getting the color palette you want, now you can focus on other stuff. Either delete assets you think are necessary, add graffiti, change the skybox, whatever you need. It's important to keep these files open or to at least write down the RGB code of the main color you've used. Okay, for the next step you'll need a great eye, great attention to detail, and a lot of free time and patience, because now it's time to modify the NPC sheets. This will depend entirely on the theme you chose, but if you're making a crossover mod, go to Sprite's resource and search a game that has the NPCs you want. Now, import the downloaded files and make sure the sprites you're replacing are perfectly lined up to the original sprite, pixel by pixel. No, I'm not kidding. Something to keep in mind is that this won't work on your first try, so make sure to use the game bar both to take screenshots and to make records. This is to be able to correct positions, to fix sprites that either got chopped or won't stop vibrating in place, or to simply add a color filter so they fit better on the stage. It won't be perfect, but once you feel they don't vibrate as much, or you simply can't do anything else, you can finally import them back to GIMP and export them on the DDS format. Sadly, this isn't as easy as it sounds, because of this little menu that you have to check. In compression, select BC2-DXD3. Almost all the textures are compressed like that, but it'll always be necessary to check that both the original and its modified counterpart are the same size. If a file has a different size than its unmodified version, simply compress it with the BC1-DXD1 option. And with that, the textures are done. Now, we're ready for the final step. Remember the stage GFS file we exported? Well, now we'll go to that folder, which will have a bunch of folders with the names of the stages. However, we only care about these files down here, which have to be opened with a notepad. In these files, we won't be able to modify anything else other than the RGB values, which are the lighting of the stage. Modify literally any other line, and it will only softlock the game in a perpetual black screen. And this is the part where keeping the editable files open becomes relevant. With the main color selected, choose a lighter or grayer tone of that color for the lighting. Check the RGB values and write it down in this specific line, in this specific order, and that does it! Now just go to File and save it. And with that, your mod stage is done! Now all you have to do is the same thing as the music folder and drag these two folders to GFSPack and replace the three modded files with the ones in the game folder. Now let's open the game and check that everything is okay. And that will be everything you'll need to make your own Skullgirls mods. The last tip I'd like to give is to keep your heads up for updates. because most updates will revert your mods and you'll have to see what and how to modify them again by exporting both the modded files and the updated files. And now, the elephant in the room. Why is the UI and the palettes not able to be modified? You'll see, on the one hand you can export these files and check the image files, but if you try to modify them, you'll only crash the game. And trying to modify anything related to the characters like palettes, movesets, frame data, etc. is straight up illegal. No, seriously, doing that is grounds for a legal conflict with Autumn Games. Why? Because these files are tied directly to the game engine, which cannot be modified for anything in the world unless you want to get a cease and desist or even your Steam account banned. Sorry to be the one to break your dreams of making skin color parlors or super obscure reference that may be a nice fit for the character, but yeah, it's impossible. Anyways, with that we've reached the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope it's useful for your future projects, and I hope we become more skull bodies in the future. I don't have any concrete goals at the moment. In fact, I'm very happy with more than 2k subscribers. I seriously still can't believe it. Again, thank you very much for staying here, and I hope you stay for more projects in this channel. See you next time!